Today, we're breaking down every single dollar of government assistance available to first home buyers in Queensland as of June 2025. But what if I told you by signing a contract on the wrong day or on even the wrong property type, you could leave over $47,000 on the table? Honestly, for some buyers, the smartest move right now might be completely ignoring the most talked about grant. It sounds crazy, but stick with me. I'm Les Tricklebank, and as a mortgage broker based here right on the Gold Coast, I spend most of my days helping people navigate the maze of buying their first home. And let's be honest, it is a maze. The market is tough. Median house prices in Brisbane have surged past $975,000. It feels like the goalposts are constantly shifting. But here's the good news. There is a huge amount of help available. The problem is, it is complex. It's a web of federal schemes, state grants, and concessions, each with their own rulebook, its own deadlines, and its own traps. My goal with this video is simple: to turn complexity into your advantage. We're going to use the detailed research I've prepared for my clients to give you a clear strategic roadmap. First, we'll break down the federal toolkit, the schemes from the Australian government designed to get you through the door with a tiny deposit. Second, we'll dive into the Queensland advantage. This is where the really big time-sensitive money is, and where a huge policy shift is changing the game. Then I'll show you how to build the ultimate strategy, combining these schemes, and just as importantly, how to avoid common pitfalls that I see trip people up every single week. And finally, we will look into the future, because what's coming in 2026 could change your entire plan. By the end of this, you won't just know what the grants are, you'll know how to make them work for you. So let's get into it. With the tools the federal government gives you, think of these like your keys to solving the biggest problem for most first home buyers: the deposit. The main program is the Home Guarantee Scheme. So what is it? This Home Guarantee Scheme is the government incentive that basically tells the bank, yeah, we'll back this buyer, allowing you to purchase a home with a much smaller deposit without paying any lender's mortgage insurance, or as we call in the industry, LMI. Why does this even matter? LMI is a massive upfront cost. You pay to protect the lender if your deposit is less than 20%. Avoiding it is a huge win. The government does this by guaranteeing up to 15% or even 18% of your loan. Now, how do you get it? Well, you don't apply to the government directly, of course. You have to go through a participating lender, like the ones I work with. There are a few different types the government offers. First, there's the Home Guarantee. This is the most common one. You need as little as a 5% deposit. The property price cap for Brisbane, the Gold Coast, and the Sunshine Coast is $700,000. And your income has to be under $125,000 for a single or $200,000 for a couple. Then there's the Regional Home Buyer Guarantee. It's basically the same thing, but it's for regional areas. But this is the key difference. You must have lived in the regional area for the last 12 months. So no sudden change of postcodes just to get the grant. And finally, the Family Home Guarantee. This one is incredibly powerful. It's for eligible single parents and legal guardians, and it lets you buy with just a 2% deposit. The government guarantees up to 18% of the loan. The income and property caps are the same as the First Home Guarantee and Regional Home Buyer Guarantee, but with this one, you don't have to be a first home buyer. However, the trade-off, getting into the market with a tiny deposit, is fantastic, but it obviously means you're borrowing more. A bigger loan means more interest paid over 30 years, means more interest into the bank's big back pockets, and with a smaller equity stake, you're more vulnerable to what's called negative equity if the property value dips. It's a calculated risk. Next up is a big one everyone is talking about, the Help to Buy scheme. It's not quite ready as of the 11th of June 2025 at 7:25, but applications are expected to open late this year, so you need to be preparing now. The best way to prepare is to get your savings and documentation in order. So you're first in line when the doors open, as spots available will be limited. What is it? It's a shared equity scheme. The government becomes basically a silent partner in your property. They contribute up to 40% of the price for a new home or 30% for an existing one. Why is this a game changer? Your deposit can be as low as 2%. Your loan is drastically smaller, meaning your payments are lower. And for Brisbane, Sunshine Coast, and here on the GC, the property price cap is a whopping $1 million. But again, here's the conflict. The government isn't a charity, as we all know. They own a slice of your home. Yay! When you sell, they get their money back, plus their share of any profit. If your home goes up by 100 grand and they own 30%, you have to give them $30,000 of that gain. But you also bear all the ongoing costs, rates, insurance, maintenance, despite not owning 100% of the property. And if your income grows too much for 2 years in a row, you might be forced to start repaying the government's share. It's a massive leg up, but it comes with long-term strings attached. The final federal tool is the First Home Super Saver Scheme, or FHSSS. Nah, actually nobody calls it that. This one is different. It's not about the loan, it's about saving the deposit itself. It lets you make voluntary contributions into your super fund to save for your deposit. Because super is a low tax environment, your savings can grow faster than in a normal bank account. You can contribute up to $15,000 a year to a total of $50,000. The downside? The rules are incredibly complex and strict. You have to apply for the determination from the ATO before you sign a contract. I've seen people get this timing wrong and lose their ability to access their own savings. It's a long-term strategy, best for those who are planning a few years ahead. But I've seen some government employees like nurses and police officers who already contribute extra to super able to access the FHSSS. So always check this if you're already contributing. Okay, if the federal schemes are the key to the door, the Queensland government incentives are the cash you find waiting on that welcome mat. And right now, there is a massive time-sensitive opportunity you need to know about. I'm talking about the Queensland First Home Owners Grant, or FOG for short. Yep, we actually do call it FOG. Right now, the grant is $30,000, but, and this is critical, the amount is only for contracts signed before 30th of June 2025. After that date, it drops back to $15,000. That's a $15,000 difference based on the day you sign a piece of paper. And as of today, it is the 11th of June. But here's the catch. The grant is only available for new homes. That means a brand new house, a land and package deal, a new unit, or a substantially renovated property that hasn't been lived in. The total value must also be under $750,000. This creates a huge dilemma. That $30,000 might push you towards a new build in the outer suburb, even if an established home is closer to the city and is a better fit for your life. You have to weigh the cash against what you're willing to compromise with. But the grant is only half of the Queensland story. The other half is transfer duty, or what we like to call stamp duty. You know, the tax the government applies for buying property. And the rules have changed dramatically. For an established home, the government has increased the threshold as of June 2024. That's like 4. If you buy an established home as of your first home for $700,000 or less, you pay $0 in stamp duty. That's a savings of around $17,350.00. There's a partial discount for properties up to $800,000. That's a nice little savings. But watch what happens for a new home. From the 1st of May 2025, if you're a first home buyer purchasing a new home, you get a full stamp duty concession with no property cap values. Let that sink in. You could buy a brand new home, $900,000, and pay $0 stamp duty. That's a savings of over $26,000. The government is creating enormous incentives to to buy new. So, how do we put this all together? This isn't just a list, it's a set of building blocks for your specific strategy. Let's run through some real-world scenarios based on research. All right, let's imagine a couple. We'll call them Tom and Zendaya. Buying a new home and land package on the Sunshine Coast for $700,000, they sign the contract before June 30, 2025. First, they get the $30,000 Queensland First Homeowners Grant. Because it's a new home, they pay zero stamp duty. That's another savings of $17,350.00 saved. Now, let's say they're eligible for the federal First Home Guarantee. They only need a 5% deposit, which is $35,000. That $30,000 grant from the state government covers almost all of their deposit, and they pay no lender's mortgage insurance. By stacking these schemes up front, cash requirement is tiny. Now, let's take a different buyer. Mary Jane. She wants to buy an established apartment in Brisbane for $650,000. She obviously cannot get the First Homeowners Grant because it's not a new build, but because the price is under $700,000, she gets a full stamp duty concession. That's a savings of over $15,000. And if she's eligible for the First Home Guarantee, she can still buy with a 5% deposit, $32,500, and avoid lender's mortgage insurance. Two different buyers, two different strategies, both from the Spider-Man multiverse, both leveraging the system to their advantage. But just as important as knowing what to do is knowing what not to do. Here are the most common traps. Number 1. Eligibility misunderstandings. People assume they qualify without checking the fine print. The rules for prior property ownership are different for the First Homeowners Grant versus stamp duty concessions versus the Home Guarantee Scheme. The stamp duty concession is stricter. You can't have owned a property anywhere in the world, whereas the Home Guarantee Scheme is you can't have owned a property in the last 10 years. Number 2. Underestimating your costs. The grant is not free money for a holiday. You have to pay legal fees, building and pest inspection, bank fees, moving costs. It all adds up, so you need to budget for it. The third trap is messing up on the timeline, and this one is heartbreaking. I've seen buyers sign a contract on a Tuesday only to find out they needed to have applied for the Super Saver access on the Monday. That one mistake made them ineligible to use their own savings. And that June 30 deadline for the $30,000 grant, think of it as a locked door. On July 1st, that extra $15,000 is gone for good. These dates aren't suggestions, they're a non-negotiable. And finally, ignoring post-grant obligations. All these schemes require you to live in the property for a set period, usually 6 months continuous. If you move out early or try to rent it out to a friend under the table, they can and they will claw back the money. Okay, so that's the landscape of June 2025. But the game is about to change again. From January 2026, the First Home Guarantee is set to become a universal 5% deposit guarantee. The big change? They are removing the income caps. This will open the door to a lot more buyers, potentially tens of thousands across Australia. For us Southeast Queenslanders, this means more competition for properties under that $1 million price cap. And we already know that after June 30, 2025, the Queensland First Homeowner Grant halves to $15,000. This is why strategic planning is so important. The best move for you might be to act now before the grant drops and competition increases, or it might be to wait for the Help to Buy scheme to go live. There's no single right answer, only the right answer for your specific situation. So let's bring it all together. 1. Know your schemes. Federal schemes save the deposit problem, while Queensland schemes offer huge cash and tax savings, especially for new builds. 2. Know your dates. June 30, 2025 is the magic number for the $30,000 grant. 3. Understanding the new versus established trade-off. The government is heavily incentivizing new builds with grants and unlimited stamp duty concessions. You need to decide if that aligns with your property goals. Navigating this isn't easy, but getting it right can save you tens of thousands of dollars and get you into your own home years sooner. You don't have to do it alone. The single biggest mistake is relying on informal advice instead of getting professional guidance. Now, to help you, I've put together a one-page Southeast Queensland, To help you, I've put together a one-page Southeast Queensland first home buyer cheat sheet that summarizes all the key dates, caps, and eligibility points from this video. It's completely free. The link is in the description below. Download that first so you have all the numbers right in front of you. If it's not there, it's because I haven't made it yet, but I will, hence why I'm saying this to you right now. Then, if you're feeling overwhelmed and you want to map out a personalized strategy, the second link is to book that free, no obligation strategy call with me, Laz Trucklebank. We can use that cheat sheet as a guide and walk through the numbers to figure out the best path forward for you. Honestly, thanks so much for watching if you've made it this far.